There are three major reasons putting enormous pressure on the Pastef regime to withdraw their forces from the Gambia. Here are three major irreversible reasons that are forcing Senegal's new democratically elected regime known as the Pastef regime to consider withdrawing Senegalese military forces from the Gambia. These three grueling demanding reasons are well out of the control of the Pastef regime, pressuring them to hit the withdraw button. If these three major reasons persist in putting pressure on the Pastef regime long enough, the Senegalese economy will more likely take the hit, which will leave all blame pointed towards Bassirou Diomaye Faye and Ousmane Sonko for not taking action in the first place. This could see the Senegalese people losing all confidence in the Pastef regime. But what are these reasons that could mount more pressure on the Pastef regime to withdraw its forces from the Gambia? Let's take a look at these three major choking reasons. Let's start with the number one reason why the Pastef regime will be forced to recall their forces back from the Gambia. It is something that has a dire consequence on the Senegalese economy. The Pastef regime would not be willing and prepared to allow this to happen considering the financial turmoil Senegal is treacherously having to navigate and trek cautiously to avoid any further damage, adding to the mess left behind by the former regime. But what is this number one major reason? It is a huge financial burden on Senegal. Yes, it is the huge financial implication of the already financially struggling Senegal despite its numerous natural resources. According to the German-owned media outlet DW, the existence of Senegalese forces in the Gambia costs the Senegalese government more than $30 million every year. Analysts project that withdrawing Senegalese forces could save Senegal approximately $30 million annually. These funds could be redirected towards domestic priorities such as education and healthcare, which are central to Pastef's platform and the major targets they set for themselves. But why and how will this reason mount pressure on the Pastef regime to make them want to withdraw Senegalese military forces from the Gambia? Well, let's explain further. Clearly, this is not economically viable as they are losing $30 million each year to something that has no benefit to them or the Gambian people. To make matters worse, Senegal is presently going through huge financial stress as a government and as a nation. According to the World Bank, a significant portion of Senegal's annual revenue in the form of GDP goes towards debt financing as the Senegalese debt to GDP currently stands at 75% from just over 45% a decade ago. This significant surge is due to massive fiscal mismanagement by the former regime, which was the Macky Sall government. Now what does this mean? This implies that 75% of Senegal's GDP goes out of the pockets of the Pastef government, leaving them with just 25% of their GDP. Senegal's annual GDP stands at $29 billion as per the World Bank. According to Statista, a German analytical giant, Senegal's national debt currently stands at $25 billion. This implies that Senegal is losing $25 billion out of its total GDP of $29 billion. This means that the Pastef regime will only have around just $4 billion to work with. This is significantly low to handle Senegal's massive population of just over 18 million people. This is the sole reason the Pastef regime is hot on renegotiating contracts regarding the Senegalese natural resources like oil and gas to improve their revenue collection. So, it only makes more sense to withdraw the Senegalese force from the Gambia to retain the $30 million and use it for something much more productive and beneficial. Hopefully they will use the money on a revenue-generating venture to boost their revenue collection. Now we want you to be the judge. Would this not make more sense? Comment down below. The second major reason is Pastef's no foreign military interference policy. Senegal's newly elected leaders Bassirou Diomaye Faye and Ousmane Sonko have a no foreign military interference policy. This goes against having your military forces in another sovereign nation. The Pastef regime believes that after independence, sovereign nations should be able to look after themselves. The Pastef, Patriots of Senegal for Work, Ethics and Fraternity regime, under the leadership of President Ousmane Sonko, has championed a policy of no foreign military interference, reflecting a broader commitment to national sovereignty and self-reliance. This stance is rooted in the belief that Senegal's security and political stability should be managed internally without the involvement of foreign powers, which the regime views as a potential threat to the nation's autonomy and self-determination. This also involves having a Senegalese military presence in other sovereign nations. The policy aims to ensure that Senegal's strategic decisions are made independently, free from external pressures that might compromise the country's interests. This is rightly so, because the Pastef regime doesn't want to interfere in the affairs of another sovereign nation, as highlighted by Peace Insight. A report indicated that the withdrawal could be part of a broader strategy to reduce foreign entanglements and focus on national sovereignty. This approach aims to align with the sentiments of nearly 60% of Senegalese youth, who favor reducing foreign military engagements as reported by the German media outlet DW. So, by keeping their forces in the Gambia, the Pastef regime will be going against their own no foreign military interference policy. Do you see the Pastef regime going against its own policy? Comment down below. Before we jump on to the third reason, this is a humble request to please support our work by liking this video and subscribing to the African Pacific YouTube channel. A Gambian-owned channel looking into the affairs of the motherland that are often ignored by mainstream media. Please show your support by liking and subscribing. Thank you so much. The third and final major reason that could force the Pastef regime to withdraw its forces from the Gambia is simply the demand of the Senegalese people. The Senegalese populace has increasingly expressed a desire for the Pastef regime to withdraw its military forces from Gambia. This sentiment is driven by a growing belief that Senegal should prioritize its domestic challenges over international military engagements. Moreover, the presence of Senegalese troops in Gambia is seen by many as a remnant of past foreign policy strategies that do not align with the current administration's vision. The Pastef regime has emphasized national sovereignty and self-reliance, principles that resonate strongly with the public. Consequently, the deployment of troops to Gambia is viewed as contradictory to these values, leading to increased calls for their withdrawal. This policy shift is also seen as an opportunity to redefine Senegal's role in regional politics, focusing on diplomacy and economic partnerships rather than military interventions. Recent surveys show that over 70% of Senegalese citizens favor withdrawing troops from Gambia, citing a desire to focus on domestic issues and reduce military expenditures and unnecessary engagements. This is a polite reminder to please like this video and subscribe to the African Pacific YouTube channel. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. In conclusion, the Pastef regime should do the right thing by sticking to its promise of withdrawing Senegalese forces from the Gambia to avoid these three major reasons getting the better part of them. After all, Adama Barrow is simply just not worth it at all. Let us know what you think about these three key reasons articulated earlier. Please drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for watching and stay safe. We love you all.